All right, welcome to the Liverpool Connection podcast. I am here with Zach. I also have the legend Philip. How you doing, Philip?
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing all right, doing good. So we just watched the Aston Villa 3, Liverpool 3, exciting game. Not much for us to play for, apart from it being the last game Klopp had away from home. Aston Villa was everything, massive game to them, exciting game, end to end. There was a lot of good things from us. There's a lot of bad things. It pretty much sums up a lot of the season so far, but it was fine. It was exciting at times. Of course, Villa were well up for it. Their crowd were brilliant, and it went when we were 3-1 up, and around the 75th minute, second half, the crowd it got very quiet, and then we made the 4 subs that never a fan of at the same time, and then Villa then got back into the game, and it got their crowd back on side, and they looked for a moment that they were going to go and get the winner. So, Philip, what are your thoughts, especially on the first half of that game?
First, I just want to say I agree with 2 of your points. Definitely, I don't agree with the 4 subs at the end. You're changing 40% of your outfield players out one time. Guys that are cold getting into the match with 15 minutes left, and you hope they all find their feet at the same time, and obviously they could not. And the second point I agree with is the match was a microcosm of our last 6 weeks of the season. Mm-hmm. I remember at the start of April, we saw everything to play for. We were excited, and then, we would give up some cheap goals. We couldn't finish. Our play was very up and down, very inconsistent. A lot of simple passes that we couldn't make led to turnovers and opponent goals. And I think this match was very indicative of that. You asked me about the first half. I thought we started out pretty well. It was hard to see that Villa had a lot to play for, and that even though we had nothing, we came out with a little momentum, even though it was a little bit sloppy. I thought we played decently, not well, but decent.
Yep.
In that first half.
Zach, you're a legend as well, by the way.
Thanks.
I don't want to leave you out.
I made a face at the beginning of that.
I didn't see your face.
You can picture it.
I had a feeling the face might appear. Yeah. So, but I would agree with Philip. I thought going forward we looked pretty good. Especially in the first half, we looked good. Defensively, we know it's been an issue. It's been an issue for a while. But I thought the majority of the first half, most of the time, we looked in pretty good control, and I liked the way we kind of came on the front foot, and we were going at Villa, and we know how poor we have been in the first half of games, especially recently. So, but what are your thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, a lot of those goals that we give up, in particular within the first 10 to 15 minutes, and the beginning of the game was lively. Mo had a chance. That goal we got was a big mistake by Martinez, but I don't know, man. You look at a lot of the defensive duties you love to see Robbo in this game, and unfortunately he was hurt, and that was the deal. So you had Gomez out there, and there was a lot of chances early in the game where the players, Bailey had an opportunity. Gomez was guarding him, put him to the byline, and Bailey got the better of him. And then the same thing on the other side with Kwanzaa. He was caught out. They would get beat close, and it would just give them an opportunity to put a ball in the top of the box where we were guarding. That was the goal that they scored. It was recycled to the top. Tielemans knocked it in. There was nobody there. So it looked lively, but the defense, it was shambolic.
It couldn't happen to a nicer guy, could it? Emilio Martinez with that mistake early on in the game. But we didn't. Yeah, there's the factor of we're coming to the end of Klopp's tenure. His last away game for the club. There was nothing. There wasn't much for us to play for. But I think that showed as well in the performance, where we had a little bit more freedom. There wasn't as much pressure on us. But for Villa, it was everything. So, we saw, of course, the Martinez mistake for the goal. But what are the rest of your thoughts, first half, how we handled that?
I mean, Martinez did make a mistake. I mean, he obviously was a little unlucky, too, because it was a deflected shot from 2 yards, 3 yards in front of him where it surprised him. I think he did a good job of getting the ball, but obviously his body, his momentum, he just couldn't hold on to it. So, I mean, it was a mistake, but he was also a little unfortunate. The second one where he palmed the ball away and then Gakpo had a tip in, I think he could have done better, too, there as well on the Gomez shot. So I mean, as you say, it couldn't have happened to a better guy. I mean, we can joke about Martinez and his personality. I mean, he's a guy that opposing fans love to hate, and so I sort of just chuckle at his antics rather than really despise him. I'm just like he's just a clown.
I mean, it's kind of a, when we go into the second half and we start pretty well. The Kwanzaa header,
Beautiful.
Magnificent header that, and I thought Kwanzaa has been one of the shining lights of the season. He has been magnificent. He could have maybe done better for that first Villa goal, but he's like it's his first full season, and he looks like such a natural. Deserved the goal. I thought overall he was very good today, but the second half we came out. We look pretty good. Of course, we go up and we go into the 3-1 lead. And we looked pretty comfortable. Like I said earlier, we quietened the crowd.
Yep.
The crowd had got quiet. And then we made the 4 subs, which I kind of want to talk about because we've seen now in a few games this season where we make a host of changes and it doesn't really work. And there's a variety of factors going into that. I get it. It's towards the end of the season. You want to give players, a bit more of an opportunity, but it's certainly led to us feeling a little bit under the cosh, especially Endo coming off. And I thought Endo had a pretty good game. And obviously McAllister then dropped back, and then McAllister unfortunately made the mistake for the Villa goal.
Yeah, I think Philip hit the nail on the head where you bring a bunch of players who Sobosai and Jones, these guys that kind of were thrown into a team that you got to have them there. It's Soboslai. You paid this money for them, but they weren't ready. And so having all these people trying to get along and have the same thoughts on the pitch at the same time, it didn't work. And Endo he was playing the hardest out of everybody before he came off. He was all over the pitch, and there's the whole Nunez drama, whatever, and you just bring in this mishmash of players. Villa said, it's not working. And even though the first half didn't work well, before the subs it didn't work well, but there was something. We were creating chances, we were doing something, and then you bring on 4 new players and you go, all right, let's see if we can recreate that. And it just didn't work.
Well, we had that. You could see it, especially first half, early, majority of the second half, really. We played like a team that could kind of relax a little bit, right? We know our season is done, right? This game was not massive for us, and you could see that in the way we were playing. We played well going forward, but so the 4 subs come on. So we see Nunez, we see Jones, we see Soboslai, and we saw Gravenberch as well, and. I mean, I know I said it, and a few other people said it. As soon as that happened, all 4 coming on at the same time. So, really?
You're absolutely right. We definitely said that over here in our corner. It was 40% of your outfield players, especially guys that are still finding their rhythm coming back from injury, and then they're being played in positions that aren't for them. Gravenberch was pushed out on the left. You could see he barely touched the ball. Jones was asked to play up a little bit, where Jones can play across the entire midfield, but I think he might have touched the ball 3 times. But the main thing was what you guys said, losing Endo and pushing McAllister back. It's been a recurring theme for us that McAllister, he's a wonderful talent, he's a great player, he can play any position in the midfield, but he does lose a little something when he's asked to sit back and play that role. He thinks he can thread some of the same passes down the middle. But when you're playing that far back, a little mistake, as you saw on their second goal, where you don't, that pass when you're playing further up, you can make that mistake. But sitting back, you can't make that mistake because then they're in a position to score right after you lose that ball.
It's a hard. I haven't seen who the man of the match was yet or anything. I think it's a very hard one to call I thought there was a lot of good performances there. I thought Gomez had a really good game at left back. Gomez played well. I thought Diaz was busy, as he has been for the past month. I thought Endo was really good. Gakpo played well. Is there anyone else that stands out? And Kwanzaa, of course, because of the goal. I thought overall he did pretty good.
You give up a goal, you score a goal, so...
And he gave up.
Harvey was his usual busy self. Lovely pass for that Kwanzaa goal. And he works well with Mo on that side. And right when Soboslai came on, again, not trying to be detrimental to how Soboslai played, or there was a lack of rhythm. Some of the passes were overhit. Simple passes were overhit, and so you lost that connectivity between Mo and Harvey have.
Mo looked off it again. He's been back a while now. I think he's had more than enough games. And I know we're coming to the end of the season, we know that, but Salah still looks, he still looks way off. For Salah now, will he get that back? I mean, is it worth selling? Is it someone you're going to keep? I mean, that's probably a discussion for another podcast, but there's definitely question marks there for how he's never had that long-term injury before. This is the first time, and the question is, going into next season, is this something that he's going to pick up more niggles? He's going to get more injuries. He's not going to get faster. He's going to get slower. But he was one today that again just didn't look. I mean, there was a pass. I think it was by Soboslai in the second half. And to me, it was a good pass. But Salah just didn't have the. Just didn't have the legs to get to it. But 3-3. It's the end of the season. It's fine. We know we went into that game, wanting to win, of course. I don't think there's any surprises that come out of that game. We know we have issues in defence. We know we can score goals, right? With the right setup, we can do that. But we have one more game to go with Jurgen Klopp this Sunday. And that's it.
But you bring up two good points. I mean, just interject. Even though these are conversations for another day, the two issues, obviously, the biggest one is Mo. We have Michael Edwards back. He's known to not want to give long-term contracts to players over a certain age. That's where Mo is. You've also made a great comment. He has slowed down toward the end of the season, where it could be injury. Coming back from the African Nations Cup, could be injury, or he could just be losing some of his legs. I mean, he's still fit and healthy and strong, but you do lose some pace. So that's a discussion for another day. But the other point I thought that's worth highlighting is Kwanzaa. He had a great match. Yes, he was. Bailey did get around him for their first goal, but again, he didn't have help. He was covering for Trent there. But the question is, who should play next to Virgil next season? If we keep Virgil. I mean, he's a better passer. He brings the ball out a little better than Ibu. Ibu gets hurt a lot. So is it time for Jarrell to take that next center back spot next to Virgil? Anyway.
Can we keep talking about Mo? Or?
You could talk about whatever you want.
All right. Well, then I want to say, I mean, his contract ends next season, so we're not going to be able to get any money for him. And it's always,
if we sell him this summer, we can. He has one more year left.
And it's always the first half of the season. I mean, he was flying the first, and then 2022 before he went to AFCON and before the World. So that's almost an injury in terms of. That was more of a mental injury because he had lost Amane twice, right? So and he didn't come back and he wasn't the same, and it's such a tricky thing to add and to go off your Virgil point is that I think you want Virgil there to kind of give Kwanzaa those ropes, and but passing out the back, Kwanzaa is way better than Konate, I believe.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, I went Virgil there. Sorry, I went Virgil there, but it's an Edwards question.
Maybe we'll get him on the pod.
Yeah,
you can put it to him and say.
Him and Jamie Webster, we could do it together.
I'll shoot him a
text. Him and Webster at the same time.
Same time. Maybe Patty the Batty too.
Patty the Batty. Yeah, we'll do a group compliment. You know what? So what I was most, I won't say worried about, but concerned about the beginning of this game, and I'm glad we got through it, was Jurgen Klopp. Of course, if he got a yellow card, would have been suspended from the final game at Anfield, which would have been a nightmare.
Did you notice?
He made it.
Did you notice that crappy Simon Hooper? Remember, when he gave Harvey that yellow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For nothing, for like barely kicking the ball away. He did it right in front of Klopp, and Klopp normally would have gotten angry, ferocious. Klopp, you saw him, he just went like this. He just pulls his hat down. He's like, I'm not going to get into this.
It's like,
And I was like, that was Jurgen, that was great. Yeah.
don't say it.
Do that to
Don't say
supporters.
it.
Yeah, right.
Keep quiet.
And I was like, Simon Hooper, you were baiting Klopp there, and Klopp just went.
He was
pulled
a
his
little
clap down. Yeah, he pulled his cap down.
So, all right. So yeah, Aston Villa 3, Liverpool 3. I'm fine with it. I'm not surprised by it. I thought it'd be a draw. I mean, obviously it's disappointing we can see 2 goals late on, but with if we were going for the league title or whatever, then we feel a lot different. Right now, I feel pretty calm. But thank you to BD Riley's. Also, thank you to Up the Reds sponsoring us at the moment with some fantastic merchandise. I'll drop the link, as they say. That's the lingo on this
Yeah,
YouTube
you gotta
stuff.
drop it while it's
Drop
hot.
the drop it while it's hot.
Drop it while it's hot?
That is what you said.
That
Drop
is-
it while it's
that
hot.
is Snoop Dogg
Drop
said
that
first.
comment
That's
from
the
the
one I said.
from the actual pod.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. With that, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, do all that good stuff, and
Click to subscribe.
click.
Thanks for having me back on. It's an honor.
You're a popular fella. And so are you.
Well, he hasn't been drinking.
But-
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's why it's just boring and dry commentary today. Haven't cursed once.
There's still time. We can wait.
Yeah, take it easy.
No, I'm on my best behavior
You are?
today. Yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers as I say that.
Have a good one.